The purpose of this podcast is to educate and inform. It is no substitute for professional care by your doctor or your qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard or delay professional medical advice because of something you've heard on this podcast or in any linked material. Guests who speak on this podcast express their own opinions, experience, and conclusions. Dr. Shirley neither endorses nor opposes any particular opinion discussed on this podcast. The views expressed on this podcast have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, practice, institution, or other entity with which Dr. Shirley may be affiliated.
Welcome to Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty. This podcast is curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD, as the definitive source of holistic wellness through beauty.
Hey everyone, it's Dr. Shirley. Welcome to 15 Minutes of Fab, a segment of the Forever Fab podcast where I review products, services, experiences, and frankly, whatever, in 15 minutes or less. If the full-length podcast is a couture dress, for example, then 15 Minutes of Fab is like a button-down French cuff white shirt paired with leather leggings. If you don't have time to tune into the full-length podcast, then check out 15 Minutes of Fab, just a small dose. Some have considered it truth and beauty or plastic surgery secrets or as a nerdy or academic take on wellness and beauty with a dash of fashion. Consider it what you may. My aim is to engage you as a credible and authoritative voice in most, if not all aspects of beauty and wellness with a dash of fashion. That includes products, wellness services, technologies, innovations, new scientific research, and plastic surgery. As the founder of Holistic Plastic Surgery, my approach to beauty is through a lens of wellness that's grounded in science, backed by medical study and research, strengthened by my clinical experience, and bolstered by my surgical training with the use of principles and techniques of plastic surgery. And then there's my love of fashion. Of course, I feel uniquely qualified to talk with you about beauty, wellness, aesthetics, and plastic surgery, as well as products and services within those spaces, not only because of my extensive, and may I add, expensive training and expansive background, but also because I'm one of you. Many of the human issues around aging and being a fierce fab person, as well as an agent for positive change, I live these too, and I try. You're not alone. So together we can help the world become a more beautiful, forever fab place. So if you'll have me and give me at least 15 minutes of your time, let's get at it. In this new year, I've decided that it will be one of expansion and discovery. So I'll explore all sorts of topics, near and possibly far-fetched, while still focusing on the topics that make the Forever Fab podcast, well, fabulous, namely fashion, the art of living well or wellness, and beauty. As part of my philosophy of holistic plastic surgery, which I created well over probably now 15 years ago, where I believe that beauty emanates from within, wellness plays an integral role in my practice. And this goes for many aspects of life that help you to live in grace and beauty, including nutrition, exercise, products, services, technologies, mind, body, spirit, and science. The title of this week's episode of 15 Minutes of Fab on the Forever Fab podcast is Unconditional Love. The title of this week's episode is Four-Legged Furry Love. A recent article in the New York Times discussed the lengths that some pet owners will go through to pamper their pets. I didn't grow up with pets, at least not properly acquired ones. So I never really understood the pet pampering thing. And then 2 dogs were introduced into my life. Did you know that there is an entire pet wellness industry? According to an AI overview on the web, quote, the purpose of pet wellness is to maintain optimal pet health and promote a long, happy life by focusing on preventative care, early disease detection, and holistic well-being through regular veterinary checkups, balanced nutrition, proper exercise, parasite control, and vaccinations. This proactive approach helps prevent costly illness, saves money in the long run, and improves the overall quality of life for pets and their owners, end quote. There are many benefits to having pets. They include an increase and or improvement in your physical activity, such as exercise, in happiness, a sense of well-being, heart health, again, physically and emotionally, a sense of responsibility, increased social interaction, improved empathy, improved mood, higher tolerance, more patience, a sense of playfulness and childlike wonder, improvement in cognitive function, improvement in mental health, and a sense or a deeper sense of nurturing. And there's so much more. It's also been said that pets may help to reduce anxiety, stress, depressive symptoms, loneliness, blood pressure, cortisol levels, and more. Pets are full of love. So to reciprocate, pet owners believe that their furry companions appreciate a variety of products and services. The pet wellness space is growing rapidly, probably due to the fact that pet owners perhaps treat their companions kind of like humans, or at least human-like, and therefore they are seeking product and services that are more holistically based and of a higher quality for their pets. So, meet my pets, Bijou and Onyx. Bijou is a Maltipoo, or a Maltese Poodle mix, and Onyx is a Black Russian Terrier. Bijou, she's special. She has the attitude of a sophisticated French lady who has her gangster side too. She is the oldest of the two. Onyx is a quite regal-looking dog, but a bit dopey. He so loves his sister, but sometimes he gets on her last nerve, and she lets him know that. There's not much I wouldn't do for my pets now that I've had them and I've experienced living with them, and it's just a thing. Perhaps I buy them more treats for themselves than I do for myself, which is hard to believe. Whether it be treats, toys, massages, human-grade food, no kibble, please. Dog walking services with a 3-dog maximum limit. I don't want my dogs in the midst of, a posse of 20 or 30 dogs. Also, there's a venison cake from Cleo's Barkery for birthdays, organic meal toppers, designer collars and leashes, and just more. Maybe it's too much. Maybe the pets don't even understand what it's all for. Pet care is also very expensive. So if you have pets, you have to be willing and able to care for them with all the extras. And yes, there's a whole leveling up of showing pet love in which I have yet to participate, honestly. Some of these next level products and services include ashwagandha for pets' anxiety, colloidal silver for wound care. There's special vests called thunder vests for keeping dogs calm if they're freaked out by thunder and lightning. There's also homeopathic tinctures to help dogs sort of get calm and relaxed. There's lavender scented, sprays for dogs to fall asleep better. There are, quote, collagen peptides, end quote, for joint pain, according to Kate Lindsay of that New York Times article that I referred to earlier. There are pet supplements, there's spa services. In fact, when I can every morning, I give my dogs a little pet massage. There's pet grooming, blow drying, special, powders. And again, there's a lot more. You may ask, well, what does pet care have to do with Forever Fab? As you know, this podcast is dedicated to living a beautiful life. And I believe pets help us to do just that. This concludes this episode of 15 Minutes of Fab on the Forever Fab podcast. Thank you for listening. And until next time, stay beautiful and forever fabulous inside and out. Thank you for listening to this week's Forever Fab podcast episode of 15 Minutes of Fab. Until next time, live well, prosper, and stay beautiful, inside and out, and stay forever fab. If you like this episode of 15 Minutes of Fab on the Forever Fab podcast, please share it and subscribe to the feed. Did you learn anything new? Review this episode by writing just one word to describe the value you got from listening today, and give this episode a 5-star rating. In case you missed it, listen to this episode, past episodes, or check out who's coming up next on foreverfabpodcast.com. If you enjoy listening to the Forever Fab podcast, get more audio and more visuals with a membership through Patreon. Choose the gold, platinum, or diamond tier for premium added content, special co-hosts, lifestyle videos, branded merchandise, and more by visiting patreon.com/foreverfab. And if you are a founder of or represent a beauty or wellness brand and you want to be featured on an episode of Forever Fab podcast segment of 15 Minutes of Fab, send me some stuff. Visit foreverfabpodcast.com and fill out the contact form. For general holistic beauty tips or to set up an appointment with me to discuss your personalized options for leveling up your beauty, go to elementsandgraces.com and sign up for my newsletter. And for an online e-consultation on time, anytime, and on your time, visit clicklift.com for your wellness, plastic surgery, and beauty questions on the go. And it's time for the elevated house call, wouldn't you say? Jet Set Beauty RX offers beauty on-call services near your home or other domicile, delivering beauty in the privacy of a medically equipped, state-of-the-art mobile aesthetics unit. Reserve at jetsetbeautyrx.com. That's all for now. Thank you for sharing the love. Goodbye, gorgeous.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Forever Fab, the podcast on fashion, the art of living, and all things beauty, curated by Dr. Shirley Madhere, MD. Live beautifully and help make the world a more beautiful place.